All right, guys, thank you for joining me on Instinctive Addiction Archery today. Buddy, we got a good one for you today, I promise you. When something is really important to me and I feel like it needs to be brought to the traditional archery community, I gotta do it, man. I gotta do it. Okay, so here it is. My question to you is your practice hurting you? You say, well, Jeff, how is my practice possibly hurting me? I mean, how can practice be detrimental? How can it hurt? Well, I'll tell you. Guys, if you are one of two things, if you're gonna do one of these two things, there is a practice that will hurt you, okay? You say, well, what on earth are you talking about? All right, guys. If you're like me and you like to shoot bag targets, block targets, anything that has spots on it, right? Just to shoot those tight groups, man, and focus on that little spot and shoot as many arrows in it as you can. And I do it all the time, and I love it because it's fun. Okay, guys, it is fun. But I promise you one thing, it will hurt you. That's right, it will hurt you bad when you go to a 3D range. That's right, that's number one. And when you're in the deer stand, that's number two. You say, well, how is that? I'll tell you guys, because if you are an instinctive shooter and you are looking at a little spot all the time to shoot, and you're focusing on that spot, which is what you're supposed to do, and you shoot it over and over and over and over, and then you begin to rely on seeing that little spot and making that shot, which is great to get your process down, to work on your form and your execution and get to actually grouping. But then once you do that, you need to move on, guys. You need to move on to 3D targets. Okay, why is it so important to shoot 3D targets? Well, I'll tell you. A 3D target does not have a spot on it, nor does a live deer. They do not have any little spot for you to look at and say, okay, I'm gonna focus, I'm gonna put it in that little spot right there. You can't. You have to imagine it. And that's what's very, very difficult sometimes, is to imagine that little spot on a completely one-colored body, any kind of target there is, or a live deer. It's very difficult because even when a deer comes up under you, or if you're in a ground blind, or whatever the case may be, to mentally focus and imagine. That's why people write stuff like pick a hair, aim small, cool stuff like that on their bows, to remind them that, hey, I've got to focus on a little bitty something. I got to imagine it in my mind. That's where I'm going to put my arrow, because you got an entire body, and it's so easy to draw back and fling an arrow at a body. Okay, that's what happens at a 3D course. You say, well, oh man, I've been shooting good in the yard. I've been shooting these dots, man. I mean, I'm shooting my bag target. I'm grouping like this tight, man, at 20 yards. I'm shooting real good. You go to a 3D shoot with your buddies. Guess what? You pull a ton of bad shots and you're scratching your head wondering, how in the world am I doing this? What am I doing wrong? Well, as I mentioned in an earlier video, it's all mental and it's focus. You got to focus and execute. Okay, how do you do it on an animal target that does not have a spot? You have to imagine it. Let's just say you're in the 3D course in the woods or in the field, and you walk up to the stake and there's the target there, and all of a sudden you're looking at it and you're just trying to see, well, where's the best scoring? Where's it at? You can't see it without binoculars most of the time. Sometimes the sun's shining down through the trees, there's shadows, they put them behind different stuff. I mean, they make the shots difficult, and that's what's fun. But anyway, guys, it's really good practice. But when you're shooting at a 3D target, if you know where they're at in your mind, and you say, okay, I've shot these targets before, I know where the scoring's at, but I can't really see it. I know about where it's at just from experience, but I sure can't see the little lines in the rings. That's when you have to imagine it. You have to just look at it and focus. Okay, why is that important? Because it's no different when that deer comes walking up under you. Like I said, a real deer does not have rings, and it does not have anything for you to focus on and look at. You have to imagine it. So you got to pick something out on that hide. And I don't care if it's the little crease behind the shoulder, if it's just, okay, you know where the sweet spot's at and you glue your eyes to that spot, good enough. That's what you have to do. But shooting at 3D targets is the next level. And what I'm saying about this, guys, is your practice will hurt you if you never quit shooting the bag targets and the spotty targets. If that's all you ever do, and then you expect to go to a 3D range and shoot good, or you expect to be successful in the woods, you're kind of in for it. I promise you, you're in for it, guys. This is through personal experience. First few times that I did this, man, I went to some shoots and I was shooting good, I thought, out in the yard. And I go out there and I'm like, man, how did I shoot this thing? High, low, right, left, whatever the case may be. It's because I did not focus on the right spot. I did not glue my eyes to where it needed to be. Okay, so I have got Doreen out here in the field, out here at 20 yards. Looks just like a real doe just stepped out of the sage grass out here in my field. All right. This is as good a practice as it gets, just like being on a 3D range or hunting or whatever. You say, okay, can I make a kill shot on that thing? A solid brown body. It's a lot different than looking at a target with a little dot on it, I'll guarantee, because it's all mental. You have to focus and find that little spot. So I'm gonna try it, guys. I'm gonna show you. This is the kind of practice that you need to be doing, I promise you. I got my little 41-pound carbon vapor here and shooting purely instinctive. And this is what I'm gonna try to do. 20 yards, you walk up to the stake, you're at a 3D shoot, you walk up to the stake and there's your target. And all the guys are standing around watching, pressure's on, right? Not really. If you have fun like we do, you don't worry about pressure. But anyway, it's all fun. But anyway, you look at that target and you say, well, I can't see the rings on it. I can't see a dot. It's all brown. Well, you know from hunting, if nothing else, if you're a hunter, you know that you want to get it right there behind that crease of that leg. You know where the lungs are at. So at least try to focus in your mind on what is a good kill shot for that 3D animal. And it doesn't matter what kind it is. All animals have basically the same kill zones in the same areas, target-wise anyway. So here we go. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show y'all guys what's up with this. Check it out. Let's walk down here. This is what is so cool. Real practice. As real as it gets. There we go. Real practice, okay? That's what you want, guys. That's exactly what you want. Get you a target of some kind that looks like a real animal if you're gonna be hunting. And what you would do to kill that deer is totally different, guys. It's harder. It's a lot harder. I'm not kidding you, it's harder. That's why it's hard to shoot really good scores shooting instinctive in a 3D shoot. Because, face it, you have to imagine where you want to shoot that thing at all different distances. But once you do, it becomes easy. When you walk up to that target and you stare at it, and you imagine that little spot right where you want that arrow to go, and you execute, it's there. It's no different than a hunting situation, guys. Same thing. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I encourage you, once you have gotten your process down, once you got your act together and you're actually shooting good, you're grouping, your bow's tuned, you got everything right, and your bow does have to be tuned, guys. Make sure you're getting good arrow flight, your brace height's right, that everything's right on your bow, okay? And once you do that, and you're shooting that bag target or that block target or whatever, the hay bale, whatever it is, and you're shooting good groups at a dot, get you a 3D target. I don't care if it's the cheapest one that they make. Get you a 3D target and move that thing around. Shoot it a while in one place, move that sucker around somewhere else. If you got some woods that you can put it in, go put it in the woods, but make it difficult, because that's the best practice that you'll get in your yard, I promise you guys. And do it out of a tree stand when you get a chance. Now, I've got lock-ons in my trees in the yard. I get up in a lock-on and practice real scenarios right under the tree. Out here, this is the coolest practice in the world. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on Instinctive Addiction Archery. We love you and we thank you for supporting us, and look forward to bringing you lots more cool videos, guys. As always, God bless you. See ya.